Coast Guard heroes arriving in the Abaco Islands.
5 young boys create a rescue trampoline.
The first to run a marathon in under 2 hours.
We have seen what we thought was unseeable.
A relay of dogs will lead blind runner Tom Panic across the finish line.
Nicolas Mahut lost in the French Open, but then his 7-year-old son ran onto the cart to give his dad a big hug.
Her and her sister have been heroes for many little girls out there.
I want to thank my amazing mom. She's my hero.
I love you.
Exactly what I was thinking.
When you are free to be you, it is the best feeling in the world.
He is the Sully Sullenberger of pizza.
My family is making a grant to eliminate their student loans.
We know deep down what's right and what's needed.
I'm going to fight this.
Who says I can't? Nobody!
Here it comes. Never been done in competition.
The category is love, y'all. Love!
Use your heart, your courage and vision to fix, to heal, to empathize, to connect. Because living life for something bigger than yourself is a hero's journey.
Hello, everybody watching from all over the world. Welcome to the PowerUp Hero Show. You know who I am. My name is Lisa Wisner, and I'm just so thrilled to be here as your host, as one of your hosts of the PowerUp Hero Show, a show all about you being the hero of your own story. And I couldn't be more pleased to introduce to you my co-host, who is a public servant and literally has such a big heart for our community. I want to welcome our talent development expert and professional, Megan Isasi. Welcome.
Hey, Lisa. How's it going?
I've missed you, Megan. You were not here last week, and I kept thinking, I was like, oh, my Megan. So you were missed so much. You need to know that.
I miss you guys. Every time I have a chance to just connect with people that are in my tribe,
yes,
and I miss it, it's like a piece of my heart has gone away and all the energy has gone down. And so I'm glad to be here and be powering up this weekend.
Yes. Oh my gosh, Megan. So can I just tell you, today I had a speaking engagement, and it was with this organization called the Lions Club. Have you ever heard about them?
I have heard about them, but I don't know a ton about them.
Okay, me too. So like you see their signs everywhere. Every time you drive into a city, right? There's like a Lions Club, there's Kiwanis, there's all this, right? Dude, Megan. So they hired me for a speaking engagement, and I'm doing my research, and I'm like, this is like Toastmasters. For those of y'all who are watching, Megan and I are avid Toastmasters members. Like, well, we're both DTMs now, right?
Yes.
Yes! Oh my gosh, Megan, we didn't even get our DTMs together.
I know.
Oh I know. Gosh, I have my those of you who don't know what a DTM is, being a distinguished Toastmaster is the highest level you can attain. I got my thing in the mail. Did you get yours?
I got a plaque, but I didn't get a medal.
You're going to get it. Well, because I got it because I was supposed to do the walk. You know how they do the walk when you go to the conference, but I didn't. So they mailed it to everybody. But yes, I got the plaque too. But yes, so we're both DTMs. And so that's super exciting, which is why I guess we're able to speak. If you want to learn how to speak, you need to join Toastmasters. But what I was going to say is that it's exactly like Toastmasters, but for community service. So, and I wanted to bring it up right now because I didn't know this organization exists. And literally, you join this Lions Club, and I love their tagline. It's like, where there's a need, there's a lion. They're a 100-year-old organization, and it's literally just volunteering. All they do is like when there's a need, they're like, the Lions got it. The Lions are here. When they're like doing like, oh, we need COVID, we need volunteers to help with the COVID, like, you know, kind of corralling people. The Lions are here or whatever, right? Youth engagement, whatever. So I wanted to bring it up because I feel like I uncovered a community of heroes, right? So I just
Yeah.
think of all the people out there who, correct me if I'm wrong, Megan, when you go out in the streets right now, you know, we're talking about masks, quarantine, COVID, all this scariness. And when I see people with masks, when my husband leaves the house and goes to HEB to go shopping, I feel like those are heroes, right? You're stepping out of comfort, putting on your superhero mask, right? It's like your shield to go do heavy work. And if to do it for volunteerism, well, you don't have to, you're wanting. How amazing is that, right? I just love it. I love
Yeah,
it.
that's pretty amazing. So that Lions Club, there's one in Corpus, in our community.
Okay, I don't know. The one
That's what I was asking.
Yeah, so they hired me. It was out of town. They found me somehow, so I got invited. But I told them that I will research here in Corpus to see if there's a Lions Club, because it's exactly what I do. So I feel like I should have been a lion already. And guess what, Megan? I'm a Leo. So it's just even more perfect. It's like, why did I not know about this organization? So for those of y'all watching right now, if you don't know about the Lions Club organization, you need to. And I've just been so empowered by them. I am not a member, so I don't know anything of the details, but find out about them. They're doing amazing work in our community, and they're just a shining light. I think every single one of the people here, the people that I met, I feel like they could have been heroes here on our show today, because our show is all about being a hero in real life, right? Not just being like Superman or Wonder Woman, like your made up comic, right? You're a real hero in real life, making an impact in people's lives. So that's my PSA for today. Super excited. So if you're looking for your next journey of community engagement, Megan, I think, not that I don't like Toastmasters. I mean, we graduated from Toastmasters kind of, but I think my next thing would be taking my community leadership to the next level and joining something like the Lions Club. So I'm excited about that. But today is not about that. Today is about this amazing person called Valarie White, who you and I both know, right?
Yes, I do. We know, love, and cherish Valarie White.
And I feel like she got gifted to us. Like, she came to us in the most unlikely way, and we have stayed connected. And I feel like, you know, when there's glue, there's glue. And so we're never going to let go of our Valarie. So we're going to start off the show by shining a spotlight on really an outstanding individual in our community who has been helping to educate and provide wisdom to people all across the world, across multiple platforms. This hero not only sparks joy in me when I think of her name, and I'm sure Megan too, but she's all about excitement. She's all about wisdom. And so I want to tell you that today we're celebrating a teaching hero. We're celebrating a hero who is a global talent development expert and has made such a huge impact. In fact, I don't want to read her entire bio because it is very long and we'll hopefully be able to unpack it. But her mission is to go and teach all nations. And I feel like Valarie White's passion for people is amazing. And it's, I guess you could say, she does her work through the development of people. She has passion for people, and then she develops them into the best versions of themselves. So I'm going to read a little bit of her bio, but we'll unpack it later. Valarie White was educated at the University of Incarnate Word in San Antonio. She earned both a Bachelor of Arts in Organizational Development and a Master's of Education with a concentration in adult education. She's currently completing her doctorate in community college leadership with Ferris State University. Her focus is going to be on research that's based off of equity and inclusion in Hispanic Serving Organizations. Valarie White is a people development expert, but she also owns an organization called Focus Consulting Services, an organization that she founded to provide professional skills, soft skills, customer service, and corporate team building. That's how we met her. That's how Megan and I met her. We hired her and we couldn't let her go. She was just so amazing. We were like, yes. And let me tell you who else can't let her go. She has a client list that is like miles long, Fortune 100 clients, from small businesses to like huge companies. I'm going to tell you, Toyota, the City of San Antonio, JP Morgan Chase, Caliber Home Loans, Washington Mutual, Dynamic Corporate Solutions, the City of Corpus Christi, Jacksonville Electric Authority, Duval County Health Department, AFI. I can go on and on and on. And so, and Megan, she is award winning. Valarie White and her team at Alamo College have won the highest distinction in terms of organizational development, which is the Malcolm Baldrige National Quality Award. It is really the most quality award when you're talking about organizational development. She has also earned the Association for Talent Development Best Award, and also she's a 2-year recipient of the Chief Learning Officer Learner Elite Award. And so everybody watching right now, hopefully you're excited. You got your excitement on. Drum roll. I want to welcome our Power Up Hero of Teaching, Valarie White.
Hello.
Hello, Valarie.
Oh my goodness. That is so exciting just to hear it read back to me. You know, when you put your head down and you hunker down and just do the work, you don't take time to reflect on it. And I was like, wow. But I do want to give kudos to all of those who have helped along the journey, and especially the teams who made it happen. Some of those big awards, especially those national awards, I am a small pin dot on the map with those organizations to make it happen. And so it truly takes a village, and it's an entire team effort. And so for people out there who are looking to reach that next level, lock arms with the people around you, because that's where greatness is built, when you make those connections. So thank you so much.
I love it, the power of people and support. But Valarie, can I just say, Megan, correct me if I'm wrong, this is what heroes do. They're like, it wasn't me. It was so-and-so and so-and-so. So Valarie White, you need to know that the reason why we have invited you to be here with us today is because we know that you are a power-up hero. We know the impact you're making in our community. When you say, go forth and teach all the nations, we know you're not just saying that, you're doing it. So welcome to the show, and congratulations on being our Power-Up Hero of Teaching. Woo!
Hey, thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here. This is an awesome testament to the work that I do and will continue to do. I just love learning, and I love seeing the lights come on for other people.
So we're going to get right on with learning about you, because I feel like this interview will get for 2 hours if we do not, right?
Yes.
So we're just going to start off right off the bat with Valarie White. Tell us about who you are. Tell us about what you do in service to the world.
Exhale. In addition to what you said, my most recent and what I'm passionate about now, and where I'm concentrating all of my energy, is to create equity on a global scale, right where I stand. I think too often we have that global tag or this big, big goal, and we want to go to the far reaches of the world to make change, but we have to begin right where we stand. And that's what I'm doing. The organizations that I'm connected with, those people that I'm connected with, is helping to bring about awareness of equity issues. I mean, right now, let's see, last week I participated with the Alamo Colleges in a panel discussion, Voices of Black Mothers, where Breonna Taylor's mother was present, Ms. Tamika Palmer, along with the mother of Marquise Jones, Mrs. Jones herself there, mothers who lost their children to police brutality. And so we have to shine a light on it, but we can't start anywhere until we start internally and start with those that we're immediately connected to, because that's what my mission is about. You never know the person that you're going to educate or train who's going to go off and do even greater things. So go ye therefore and teach the nations. That's my mission statement. It's been that way for a long time. It is actually a quote from the Bible, Matthew chapter 28, verse 19, go ye therefore and teach. But the all nations, go everywhere, wherever you are, teach somebody, impart knowledge, help someone to learn to do better and to be better.
Oh my gosh, that was like a TED Talk right there.
I need to do that. I've been signing up for things. So I just wait for the universe to bring things to me and continue to do what I do. When you do the work and put your head down, it does open up doors for you. I think a lot of people too often are going out and seeking so much. We're seekers, and we don't create an impact and a sustainable change right where we are. And so I have really been fortunate and blessed for those things to come to me simply by doing the work that I do today.
Ooh, my goodness. First of all, I was over here like mesmerized by how you're talking about the work you do. Because I said, the question was, what do you do in service to the world? Can I just say something I noticed, Megan? I know, Megan, you may have something to say too, but I noticed that you didn't actually mention a profession. You were talking about the impact. You actually went beyond the profession. So the profession could be anything. You could be a doctor. You could be an engineer. You could be a stay-at-home mom, right? You could be an individual living in their own home, whatever, right? But the goal is, what are you doing in service to the world? I love that. I love how you said that. And then I like how you brought in equity and inclusion, right? So so that's your core mission. But Megan and I both know you as a professional development expert.
This is true. This is true. So my regular gig, I work to provide learning solutions with the Alamo colleges, and then of course I have a business that I have some independent contractors to do the same thing for me, along with myself. But when we talk about that business in learning and developing others in leadership training, and that's what I did, how we met with providing professional development solutions, learning and talent development solutions. Being in this space has afforded me the opportunity to provide learning solutions on 2 continents. I did some work with a global organization that it's wonderful when you get an all expense paid trip to go to another country to do the work. And so I was fortunate to work in London with a global partner, providing those learning solutions to young people, recent graduates from college. And this particular organization wanted to develop talent that they could pass the reins to, or the helm to. They want to transfer the business to young talent, but they wanted to make sure that they were well equipped to take the business to the next level. And so that's really been my passion. I think that's the power that I operate from, is to teach others and then empower them to be their authentic self and operate in the greatness that they were born to operate in. You know, sometimes we look at a spectrum of professions and things that we want to do, but we have to really, really bring it laser point. What were you designed to do? What is the impact on the world that you're supposed to have? And often when we get in that space, that's where we can create more of an impact on the world, to create the much needed change. But if I'm trying to be Lisa, or if I'm trying to be Megan, I can't be very much of an impact, because I was never meant to be that. I was meant to be Valarie, to go ye therefore and teach. And then all of those rewards and accolades come because you're being your authentic self.
Woo! Drop the pen, Megan. Drop the pen moment. Oh my goodness. Yes. Okay. So can I say something? And I apologize. You know, Valarie, you're blowing me away. You have gone like on a whole other level. First of all, I have to mention, for those of you who are watching right now, I know like people drop in and off. You need to know the way you can get in touch with Valarie, because if you like what you heard right now, and if you are a learning and development professional, you want Valarie working for you. So you can contact Valarie by going to Valarie@focus2accomplish.com. And if you do visit her website, you're going to see amazing information about how not only is she helping you focus on what you want to accomplish, but she also provides instructor-led training. She provides instructional design and learning and talent development work. And I think, Valarie, the thing for me that really struck home was you do it authentically, like you're just yourself. Does that make sense? You're not trying to be the next whatever it is, right? The next Tony Robbins or the next whatever it is. You do it as the person you are. So I have a surprise for you, which is perfectly in line with what you said. I actually have a recording of something that a training you did, and it was so impactful for me. So I have a preview for everybody. So if you don't mind, we'll just take a little break, and we'll be right back unpacking all that is Valarie White.
Awesome.
To turn that around, he took what was a passion of his and turned it into something great. The film is entitled The Art of Transformation. But it had to do with focus, giving focused attention to some things. What was something that he said he did that kind of turned his life around? Anyone?
Wrote a note to himself.
He wrote a note. He said, my car is being repossessed. I was about to be evicted from my apartment. And that day I wrote a note, put it on the door. as I exited. Every day as I exited, I would read that note. What you think about, you bring about. And what you language is what you live. When you say you can't do it, you can't. When you don't think you can accomplish it, you won't. So you have to find something down on the inside of you that says, I am.
Wow.
I love it. Oh my goodness. If you're just wondering, what is this? This is the Valarie White Show, by the way. We are celebrating Valarie White, who is our PowerUp hero of teaching. And hopefully you heard these heavy hitters. What you think about, you bring about. Oh, Megan's got it there. Why do you bring it in, Megan? Bring it in.
I wrote that down. What you think about, you bring about. And it took me back to when a couple of times that I was walking in and checking in and sitting down in Valarie White's class. And some of those things, no matter how much of a talent development expert you are, you learn continuously from others who are also experts in the field. And that's what I like about our field, is that it is continuous learning, and no one ever reaches that epitome of mastery, because everyone in this circle is of the mindset that there's another level, there's another level, there's another level. And I'm just so grateful for people like Valarie, because every time you sit in her classroom, it's one of those things where the light bulb does go off and the eyes do illuminate, and you're like, I've never heard it, seen it, or taught it myself that way. And I really, really like that about sitting in her sessions.
Yeah. Valarie, what do you think about that video? That's you. That's all.
It is me. You know, when you're out, when you see something outside of yourself, it hits you differently. When I, facilitate learning to help that transfer, I just flow. I'm just flow with it. And seeing it actually brought tears to my eyes in a good way, because one, both of you remembered that. But when I think about that last quote, what you think about, you bring about, and what you language, you live. I rehearse that in my head every single day. That is something that I keep at the forefront because I know that your thoughts are the gateway to everything that you want to see. And I can look back over my life and see where I've had some thoughts that were defeating thoughts, and I didn't reach those goals that I wanted. And so it's just wonderful to see that people really got it. As a learner, as an instructor, that's the end of the day. You want to know, did they really get it? I liken it into a college course. When you test your students, that says one thing about them getting it. But I wonder if you test them weeks later, months later, would they still pass the test? And you guys passed the test. You still remembered that, and it was impactful. And so it just makes me feel honored to be able to be a vessel that others can use. And I love that. It's all about service for me.
Yes. And I know people sometimes get upset at me. I take pictures about everything. I video everything, but I video and picture everything because you never know when you get something gets captured and you're like, wow, I was there. Because I don't know if you noticed, but you started to talk about being focused. Your business name is Focus. Valarie, in that moment, I was sitting in the back of the room, almost in tears about how you may not have realized this, but you were speaking so much power into yourself as you were pouring into everyone else. And so you're amazing. And I know we tell you you're amazing, and we told you you're amazing, and I know we paid you because you were amazing. But the point here is it's something about you. You talked about affirmation, right? So you say it every day. I can't even say it. What you think about, you bring about. And the language is how you live. Can you say that again?
So we'll break it up. What you think about, you bring about. You bring it into your life. And I have to give credit to the first time that I heard that. I don't know if this person was the first one to say it, but I've had a long love affair with Mary Kay Cosmetics, not to promote that, but there was a senior or national director, her name was Joanne Barnes, and I heard her say that one day. And that's where I speak to, you have to be the person that you're designed to be. While I was going after that particular thing or other things in my life, other opportunities, I had to come back to what am I designed to do? And she said, what you think about, you bring it about. The thing that you fixate on, if you're growing a business, if you're wanting to make connections. Right now, I'm in pursuit of a doctorate. And in this doctoral training that I have, I am completely and totally fixated on it in my mind. I'm going through it I'm not going to jinx myself, because what I think about, I bring about, but it seems effortless. Of course you have the stress and the pressures of writing a paper, but it's happening. I've got the 1 year under my belt because I'm fixated on it. I'm thinking about it and I'm bringing that about in my life. And then what you language, that's also from the Bible, is speak the things into existence. What you language is what you live. If you say, I can't do it, you won't do it. It's too hard, it will be. And so those limitations that we put on ourselves because of our thinking and because of the words we use are actually self-fulfilling prophecies, and they defeat us, they hold us back. But if we could just turn that switch on, and that's my power, if you will, to empower people to think differently. Why do you think that about yourself? Think differently. I can see myself being in this role or in that role. I can see myself crossing the stage with my doctorate. I can see myself going on to bigger and better. When you see it in your head, you think about it, you bring it about, and then you begin to speak to that thing. I'm completing this. I've got 1 year under the belt. I'll graduate in 2022, December. You've got to language it, because that's what you will live. That's what will come into your life. We hold ourselves back by sitting on the most powerful weapons that we have, our thoughts and our speech. Our thoughts and our speech. If we can get out of our head the things that were planted there, maybe from childhood, maybe from negative experiences, I think those things were, negatively designed to hold us back. When we shed all of that and we say, you know what, it's okay to be great. It's okay. Here, I have this card that I read today. Abundance flows freely to me, and I remain ready and open to receive new adventures. This is a new adventure. This live. Last week, I was on a Zoom session with someone that I never thought I would meet, Breonna Taylor's mother, and the thing that she went through, or another mother to be the voice of Black mothers. Someone heard me speaking about a situation and said, we're going to invite you. So then I did that. And now this week, today, I am here live streaming, sharing as my authentic self, who I am and what I believe in, and those passions that allow me to be the person that I am today. We have to be our authentic selves.
Hearing you say all of that, Valarie, you know what it reminds me of? Because I was just thinking, I wish I had a little Valarie on my shoulder everywhere I went. But I remember oftentimes after we got done teaching a session, I think we were teaching ourselves, because after the session, I remember sitting with you and talking to you about things, and the themes of the session just seemed to be in our conversation. And I would sit there, and there you were, just teaching me away without even me knowing it. But we were having a personal conversation about the things going on in our lives. And every time I would walk out, I would think about all the words that you would say. And so it really goes well that we're calling you the PowerUp hero of teaching. We are affectionately calling you the PowerUp hero of teaching. What does being a PowerUp hero truly mean to you?
As I think about superheroes, if you just look, I am a big Marvel comic fan. One thing that they're doing is they go about their normal daily activity until they're needed. That's a superhero. Think about Clark Kent, Superman. He's at the Daily Beagle or whatever it is called, and he's just Clark Kent. But when he's needed, those superpowers come out. The Incredible Hulk, although destructive, but it's the same thing. And so with me, my superpower is empowerment, but I'm doing that through my everyday connections. I am resilient. I've been through a lot of things in my life. I went through a lot to get to this mindset that I have today. And so it really means, when you ask me, what does it mean to me? It means continue to do what you're doing. Be great in your own right. Relish those connections, help others, keep a mindset and a heart to serve others. And when that superpower is needed, most often they don't realize it until it happens. Think about Spider-Man. His spider senses tingle. That's what happens with us. My empowerment, it just came out when we were having those one-on-one exchanges. It wasn't something that was forced. that I tried to do. Oh, I better get into my superpower. I need to empower people. It's who we are. It's part of every fiber of who I am. So I don't have to try to empower people. Spider-Man doesn't have to try to be who he is. It happens. And so that's what I think about it. Continue to be your authentic self and do what it is that you are already doing, because that's the magnet that attracts people to you. That's when you're operating in your greatness and in your power. That's when you get to be who you were designed to be.
You've given like 3 TED Talks.
It's because of my mother. I wrote a note when I was making notes, and I said, you know what, I'm really good on my feet, but at the same time, there are some things that ground me. And I went back to something that my mother always told us as children. I have a sister and I have a brother who's gone on to heaven, but she said to us, whenever we would say, I can't do it, she would say this phrase, "Can't died in the First World War." And we were like, what? Can't. She was trying to get us to eradicate can't, the word can't or cannot, from our vocabulary. She says it's dead. Can't died in the First World War. So when something is deceased, something is moved on, it can't hold you back. It can't affect you. And she wanted us to continue, let that word can't, that self-defeating word, remove it from your vocabulary, because what's your language you're going to live. And so when you can't do something, so she would tell us that all the time. And I look back on my mother, you know, I spoke to her this morning and I shared this with her. She says, yeah, I saw that. And she's another one who's kind of matter of fact, you know, I know who you are, and I know you're going to be great, and just go forward and do anything. But, you know, I trust that you're going to be your authentic self, even in this. And she said, just go forth and be great, because you already know what to do. And so I love those reality moments that I have with her, where I can remember all of those life lessons, that it's a building process. Everything is like a pyramid. It built one layer at a time to get me to where I am today. And so I hold on to those. I cherish those things. So Kent died in the First World War.
Wow. My goodness. So you come from a legacy of powerful, strong women with lots of wisdom. So it's fitting that you would be the power hero of teaching, shedding wisdom on a lot of people. So one thing I did want to ask you is, you know, tell us a little bit about Valarie growing up. You know, tell us a little bit about your family. We want to get to know you a little bit more. So tell us about our PowerUp hero before our hero is activated, right? So before you're activated, what's your daily life like? Tell us about your family. Tell us about Valarie.
Sure. So, you know, as a little girl, I was surrounded by lots of love. I was very, very connected to my grandmother. And I learned a lot of those life lessons and wisdom from her and from my mother as a teen. And so I've always been bossy. I've always been a leader. I've always been ambitious. But again, until you realize who you truly are, you can go sideways. And so I wanted to be everything from a race car driver with NASCAR to a cardiologist, literally. And I still have a need for speed. Every time I scheduled myself to skydive, I was expecting a baby. And so I said, well, maybe I shouldn't register for that again, because I don't want to continue to have children. That's a joke, but it was true. So I started, I went through my formative years with a lot of love, being ambitious, being the leader. I'm the eldest of 3, and then I have 2 stepbrothers. And so that's where some of that bossiness, that leadership came from. My grandparents owned a corner store, if you will. And so that gave me the insight on how to treat people. My grandmother would say, you know, in this life, it takes all kinds. All people come from all walks of life. And so you have a duty to treat everyone with honor, dignity, and respect. And she would say, so even if it's the person who has very little and they come in, she used to issue credit. And this is how she did. She had a 3-ring binder, and she'd write their name down. She'd write down what they got that day, what they purchased, and the date that they promised to come in and pay her back. And it never failed. They all came in and they paid her back. Now, this is a woman who couldn't read. My grandmother did not learn to read until I was in the 5th grade. And so, but yet she was a business owner, she and my grandfather. My grandfather never learned to read. And until the day that he passed away, he could only sign his name with an X. My mother was a part of the civil rights activism that was taking place during the 60s. My grandfather, I recall him saying every time the phone rang when she was a teenager, he thought that he was getting a call that my mom was dead. And most often she wasn't dead, but she was in jail. They would have to go and get her out because she was out there with all the other kids, black women and men in the 60s during that civil rights movement. She was out there as an activist. I recall her telling me the story not long ago about Mr. John Lewis, where she was begging my grandparents to allow her to go with him, where we know the famous story of him crossing the bridge, where he literally was knocked unconscious and his skull was cracked. She was supposed to be with them that day, but my grandfather forbid her to go. But she continued to be an activist. She grew up and married none other than someone who was a Black Panther. So I have all of this in my family growing up. But a couple of things stick out. My grandparents being raised and living through Jim Crowism, they were really afraid of the world at that time. And so I recall at dawn, you know, when the sun was going down near dark, they would always rush us in, come in, because there were some fears there. And so on the one side of me with my parents, I had these activists. And then on the other side, I had my grandparents who, because of the things that they endured through Jim Crow, they had a little bit of timidity there. And I grew up this little girl into a grown woman who quite honestly thought that there was this Black and white issue in the world. And there is some of that. But I attribute my crossing over that hurdle to a woman down in Miami, Florida. I don't know where she is. I'm sorry, I have the door open and noise coming in. Please forgive me. Norma Garcilaso from Cuba. When I was a manager at a particular organization there, she said, "Valarie, I need to talk to you." And this speaks to courage and bravery. We have to be courageous to be vulnerable, but we have to be courageous to say the hard things to help people get to their next level. And so she said to me, "Valarie, you have this thing about you, this Black and white, and you make a difference in people because you think that everybody's going to treat you differently because you're Black." And she said, "That's not the case with us. We see you as a colleague. You're our leader, and we want to do a great job. And so we have to find a way to get over that because it makes us uncomfortable." And I sat back and had the courage to be vulnerable long before Miss Brene Brown, to say, "You know what, tell me more." And I learned from that moment. I believe that had I not taken the time to grow and develop from that point, not that we don't have issues today, because we know we do have a lot of issues, but you personally have to find yourself and center yourself in that. If I hadn't done the hard work to overcome those barriers, those self-inflicted barriers that were holding me back, that were keeping me from having some healthy, rich relationships with people, I don't think I ever would have been able to go into London and work with people who were completely opposite from me in age, in race and ethnicity, in culture. So the work that she helped me through, and it was just a simple conversation, and the willingness that I had to reflect and say, "You know what? I'm going to be better than my ancestors, than predecessors, than people who really believe that we can never overcome." I think that we can. I think that we have to be the bridge. We have to find a way to be a bridge. Again, not to diminish the inequities that we're experiencing, particularly people of color today, but someone has to help all of us on both sides. And so my superpower, empowerment, resilience, I get both sides of that equation there and bring us all together to say, hey, what's the common goal? What are we all working toward? And let's be great there.
Oh my gosh, man. Like, and so somehow or another, it feels like you have lived a legacy life already, and you're almost like moving on a platform. And Megan has given a talk, actually. So if you're in Toastmasters, you know you have to give a bunch of talks. So I've heard a bunch of talks. And Megan has given a talk that was award-winning, actually. Was like the best speaker in Corpus Christi, and it talked about you have to run your own race. And I love that talk because, you know, it really just speaks to the fact that, you know, your situation is your situation, and what your your generational wealth, right? Your ancestors went through, that's their situation. And you're growing with their knowledge. You're growing into who you are now, who is a person who sees that there's opportunity, right? It's not just about black and white. It's about the humanity of the person, right? And so it sounds like, Valarie, you've really taken diversity, equity, and inclusion as part of your core mission.
I have. My work, my research in my doctoral program is around racial inequities. I am researching the experience of marginalized people in Hispanic serving institutions. And so what that means is that when Hispanics are the dominant, the organization or the institution tends to operate largely as predominantly white. And so what is the experience of African Americans, Asian American, Muslim Americans? What is the experience of other indigenous, marginalized people when the dominant is also a minority? Because we know that Hispanics, although they are the largest, that they are still considered a minority. What is that experience like for other non-Hispanic minorities? And we find that there are some inequities. That research is opening doors for me. It's allowing me to lead some work with some organizations to talk about bias, implicit or unconscious bias. I've been doing a lot of teaching on that. I think first and foremost, in those spaces, we have to have conversations about unconscious bias in order to create a safe place. When we can create a safe place or a safe space for open dialogue, then we learn. And from learning, we can move on to the next level of doing the work, putting our hands to the work that has to be done. But if we're never talking about it, if we hold back from saying what needs to be said, like Norma Garcilaso said to me, if we hold back, then no one grows. And again, it's not to diminish that people are hurting, people are suffering. People are suffering all over the world. I know your background a little bit, Lisa, being from the continent of Africa. There's suffering taking place all over Africa. So it doesn't diminish that that's taking place, but we have to have, someone has to be the person to say, I'm going to help. And it starts by being empathetic to all sides of the equation so that I can be a catalyst for change. We can't change if I'm so fixated in where I stand. In one of my sessions, I'm going to say this, I liken it unto a goldsmith. Think about a goldsmith, and each of us, we're a piece of gold. If there's an impurity in the gold, you have to heat it up to boiling. And when you heat it up, the impurities, what they refer to as dross, it rises to the top. Now, the goldsmith typically skims it off. That's his job. But for us individually to continue to be pure gold, when we see an impurity, when we see a bad thought, when we see something that really is holding me back from connecting with other humans, I have to make a choice to take out that impurity because there isn't a goldsmith. I'm the goldsmith. So when things challenge me, when we talk about bias, when we talk about courage, when things come up in my mind, when I get my spider senses, like really that kind of affected me differently. I have to do something with that. I have to take those feelings and examine them and work with them so that I can take out the impurity so that when the gold hardens, it doesn't harden back with that sediment. It hardens as pure gold because you're taking out the impurities. And it's a constant work. It's a constant work, but you can't take it out if it's solid, if it's unwilling to engage others.
Ooh. I have dropped my pen so many times for you.
I'm so glad, Valarie, that you shared that story about how you didn't always have this mindset. Somebody had to actually, kind of call you out a little bit. And that's so wonderful that you shared that because it made me think about, Lisa mentioned a talk that I gave not too long ago, and it really makes me think about where we all come from. And sometimes as minorities, we can see our history and see our past and fall victim to it and fall into this victimization of, look what they did to me, look what happened to us, and this is not fair. But the journey that you've experienced and come out of, and the journey that I've experienced and come out of, it really has brought us to a place where we have a sense of pride in our adversity. And at home, we call it picker pride. For all you Robstonians listening, we call it picker pride. There is pride in the things that our ancestors, our grandma and grandpa, even our parents did for us that has brought us to this point today. So I'm so glad that you shared that story with us, because it shows us that sometimes we don't always have this sense of pride where we came from, but we're growing and we're getting there. And that brings me to our next question. What are some of your weaknesses? You mentioned some challenges already, but I know there's more of being a hero. You also talked about Superman, and we all know that Superman, his biggest weakness was kryptonite, but he also struggled with this idea of who he was meant to be and who he knew he was. Superman's dad, if you guys are a big comic book hero, Superman's dad, sent him to the world to dominate over us, over the people. But Clark Kent, not Superman, was born to be humble and helpful and add value to people and save them. So tell us, what is your hero's journey, and what are some of the challenges and obstacles that you feel like you've had to face?
So I've shared a few of them. If I had to say, one thing that I struggle with, it's perfectionism. And that's not a bad thing when you just want things to be perfect, to be right, but there's nothing perfect. And so when you accept the fact that it's not perfect, but I'm going to be my authentic self, I'm going to do the absolute best. When you put in the time, you've educated yourself, you've given your best quality work, at some point you have to take a step back and learn from it. Even if someone else points it out, if I gave something to you or to Lisa and you said, yeah, this is great, however, or but, well, that but is the opportunity for me to learn. And so perfectionism would be one. And I've had to really, really work, and I've done some hard work on that to realize that I always put my best forward. I always give the absolute best of everything that I have. So at the end of the day, it's okay to pass it on, because if you don't, with perfectionism, you can get crippled and you never complete a project, or you'll never, get to the next level. Perfectionism is steeped in fear to some degree, because you fear if it's not perfect, then it won't be accepted. And so you have to get over that. That's been one of them. And if I had to say anything else, my mother, if she was on here with us, and I don't know if she's watching, she'd say that I oftentimes just really put so many people before myself. I'm the last one that I take care of. And so that brings me to, I have these little cards, and one is called a confidence card and the other is called an anxiety card. I don't have anxiety. I don't language that, but I use this. So I read the first one, but the anxiety one says, today I will say no more to takers. I choose me. And that's not selfish. If we don't, Dr. Covey said, take care of the goose. If you kill the goose, you won't continue to get golden eggs. And so if we liken ourselves again to that analogy, you have to give time to rest, proper nutrition, exercise, take a mental break from things. And so that's another thing that I've struggled with, is when to let it go, when to say, okay, I'm going to take a break. I'm going to take a jog or a walk. I'm going to, get a massage or go do something for me. And so I've worked hard on those two, and I'm better. I won't say I've mastered it, but I am better about it. But I'm very concerned with the quality of things, and image is everything in this business. If you put out bad work, that can cripple your career. It's career suicide. And so that's where that comes from, with that perfectionistic behavior. And it leads to me working all hours of the day or night. So I've got to take care of me too.
Yeah. You brought up just a few things, and I was just thinking through how, your image is everything. And one of the things that I absolutely love about you is you're unapologetic about the love that you have, not only for your family, but even the time that you spend with yourself, with your significant other. You're just I follow you on Facebook, and I see all your posts of date night, which I'm I want a date night like that, and then with your family, I have some pictures of you that I found on your public Facebook page. And so tell us, who are these? Who are we looking at?
Okay, so yes, so this was, wow, this is almost 6 years ago. That's me in the black and red. So if you're watching the camera, that's to my left is my daughter. She's the oldest of my 3 children, Dana Michelle, mother of 3, married, 3 boys. So we're raising and grooming the next generation of leaders. She is in Florida. To my right is my oldest son, who is actually the middle child. That's Christopher. He is in North Carolina, also working in higher ed and service with TFA, Teach for America. And then the one to the far right of the screen is the youngest one who's here with me in San Antonio. That's Malcolm, and he works with the government. He's also reservist in the military, and I have a granddaughter from him. And so this is what I celebrate, my children. This is what I'm most proud of. In a world where I was a single mom for a while, and then I married and divorced again. But my kids could have been anything. They could have turned out anyway. But through prayer, through being a tough mom, through the guidance of my own mother and my grandmother, they're very strong, productive, and active members of society. And I'm very, very thankful for that. I'm so proud of the contribution that they each make. And they are in their own right. They are so strong and making a change in the world. A lot of people take for granted that a single mother, that's the struggles, but mine was even a little bit more difficult. And I'm not comparing myself to others, but what I consider to be difficult, because not only was I a single mom, I was a single mom with a business where I had to travel the world. And I recall a situation with my daughter when she was 12. And of course I had sitters, nannies and everything, but there's nothing like you, Lisa, you have children, like you being there. But when you have a mission as well, and when you have to make those tough choices, I was in Stevens Point, Wisconsin. I was snowed in. And this was, I'm dating myself. This is before we had cell phones, but I got a page. I got a 911 page from home. And I was like, oh, wow. So I answered the phone, and only a mother can relate to that scream of your child when you know something's wrong. And all I heard was that scream on the other end of the phone. And my daughter says, I can't see her sight. And so when she was 5 years old, she was diagnosed with juvenile glaucoma. Talk about resilience, talk about empowerment, talk about how to make sure not only you, but those you're connected to, even your children, learn to be resilient. And so that surgery at 5, there was always a risk of other complications later. So when she was 12, they had swim day at school. She gets into the pool. When she comes out, she, God is so good. She made it home, being a latchkey on the school bus. She got in, and as soon as she turned the key to lock the door on the inside, her sight was gone. And what happened was a bacteria got in her eye, and it was at the surgical site that had happened 7 years earlier, and it caused her retina to detach and some other challenges. Now, I'm in Stevens Point, Wisconsin, snowed in, working to provide for my child. So that was, I don't have a regret, but it is something, it's weighty when I think about that. And I had to immediately call my mother, because Michelle was latchkey, and my mom would get off work, go get the kids and do all of that. She rushed over. I couldn't get out until the next morning, so I didn't sleep a wink that night. And when I landed in Florida and got to the hospital, they were wheeling her into surgery. Long story short, she has her sight. She's doing well now, but tough choices. We have to make tough choices, and we have to be resilient. But think about that. I couldn't quit. I could not allow my daughter to be a quitter, and she's a go-getter. So I say that, but let me tell you the reality of it. So I said, you can't be a quitter. I'm going to empower her. But when it came to things like sports, I wanted to hold her back from that. Oh, what if something happens that jars you?
No more swimming. No more swimming.
No swimming, no basketball, no cheerleading. And so Michelle, I wish we could bring her on. She was really, really creative. She snuck into all of these activities. She played basketball. She was a cheerleader, and she kept it from me and from the school. And when I found out, it was like, oh, Mom, I've got to stay after school for study group, or I got to stay after school. And this was before things were really, really bad. We had to worry so much. Long story short, when the school found out about her eye problems, they would no longer let her play. And so, but she did play for a long time. And so today she has her sight, and she's very intuitive. She has a tremendous insight. But I never allow my children to be defined by challenges. Because I don't allow myself to be defined by challenges. Things happen, but I used to say, you take a mad mama pill and come back stronger.
A mad mama pill. I like that.
You really, you swallow it.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to swallow that. I'm going to handle it. I'm going to address the issue. But now, what do I do to move beyond this? What do I do to make sure that I leave my footprint on the earth, that I expand my reach, that I impact others, that if I find another brother or sister, humankind, who is going through the same thing that I went through, how can I help them see that you're not defined by this? You're not defined by the fact that you were divorced, that you had to be a single mom, that you had to start over you had to start over again and make it happen. No, you just continue to be your authentic self, and that greatness that's lying dormant on the inside of you, tap into it, and it will take you to where you want to be.
Woo! You have been taught today, Megan, and I have to celebrate your daughter, because on your Facebook page, on this picture that you posted, your daughter posts underneath that picture, Mom, I think we need an update. And she tells us that this is the picture that needs to be a cover photo. So I think when we talk about her having sight and her being able to see beyond, she's trying to see for you. And she's like, if that picture's old, Mom, you need an update. So you have a beautiful family, Valarie. I think, and not only a beautiful family, it seems like you have a beautiful life. And so I completely enjoy seeing your posts about running, working out, date nights. First of all, I don't know what it is, what's going on with jewelry with you, but you have the fashionista sense that I didn't know existed. There's just so much amazingness on your feeds, and I'm just always like, wow, San Antonio's on fire because of Valarie. But one thing I did want to do, Megan, I don't know if you mind, why don't we just jump straight into Fast 5 Finger Favorites? And so I need some game show music for this part of our music, but it's definitely Fast 5 Finger Favorites time. And so, Valarie, I'm going to ask you, what is your favorite book?
So in answering that question about my favorite book, it sounds cliche-ish, but so I listed 3 because I don't like to, just have the common cliche. The principles that I live by come from the Bible. That's my favorite book. But my favorite author is Toni Morrison. The favorite book is written by her, Paradise. But all of her writings speak to my life and resilience, being able to overcome challenges, to shine a light on the fact that there is a problem, but you can overcome it. And then, of course, from a business perspective, my life work is built on Dr. Stephen Covey's 7 Habits of Highly Effective People and everything that is branched off and become. The 7 Habits is a life work. You don't just attend a workshop and then master the habits. It's a life work. You have to continually work at it. And so those would be my top.
Sorry, I have to pull in. I literally have you see how fast I pulled it? Because I live by this. I literally live by this thing. It's like the kit. I don't only have the book, I have the kit. Okay? So I love it. It's my favorite too. 7 Habits.
Yes.
And yes. I'm constantly looking through it because there's so much wisdom in it.
It is. It's so much wisdom. And when you look deeply, whether you're a person of faith or not, a lot of Dr. Covey's writings are quotes and things from the Bible. You keep mentioning my honey, and he just came in.
Oh, let's see. Let's see, honey.
Yes, she watches on Facebook, and she can date night. This is Lisa and Megan from down in Corpus, and we're doing PowerUp. I was nominated to be a PowerUp hero just by living my best life. So he's coming in from what he does.
Yeah. Welcome, Mr. Date Night Man. So we all oogle over Valerie's Facebook. Like, she's like, date night, like every day. It feels like you go to date night every day. You're on the beach every day. And I'm like, what am I doing? You know? So congratulations, sir, on treating your woman like a queen.
Well, she is a queen.
Thank you.
Yes.
All right.
Thanks for coming on the show. Yay.
Yeah. Thank you.
So
anyway, I love the 7 habits, and it is a life work. You have to, I think that you go in cycles through the 7 habits.
Yeah.
You master it, life happens, and then you have to start over again.
Yes. Oh my gosh. I'm so glad you brought that up, because it's almost like you read the 7 habits and you're like, it's just like the Bible, I guess, too, right? Like you take what you need when you need it. So anyway, and Megan, I know you and I vibe on 7 habits. Like it's like the next thing next to the Bible. So it's like,
yes, I get it.
I love it. So Valarie, fast 5 finger favorites. What's your favorite movie or something to watch?
So I love everything Chicago, Med, TV, all of that. But if I had to tie it to a movie, it's Men of Honor with Cuba Gooding Jr., where he played the Navy diver. I am a big fan of that movie because, again, resilience is my secondary superpower. You can't give up in this life. You have to constantly realize that life is just that, and it's going to happen, but what are you going to do? We have to learn to pivot. It's kind of like boxing, where you have to stick and move. You have to dodge it and come back stronger. And so that's what that movie says to me. I love watching it every chance I get. And it also says, even though the Robert De Niro character was very tough on the Cuba Gooding character, you have to have people like that in your life, because notice at the end of that movie, he was his biggest champion for overcoming walking in the diving suit where he was an amputee with a prosthetic on his leg. And so I think about that. And sometimes those people that rub you the wrong way or that challenge you the most, perhaps they see that greatness in you. And as uncomfortable as it might be, we have to go with that, get in the flow and allow it to happen, because you're going to come out greater in the end. And that might be your biggest supporter one day.
Oh, you got to get me all time.
It was a good movie. Rita says that she loved that movie.
Yeah. I was going to say, in terms of boxing, Megan is a boxer. She does Muay Thai, which is like crazy boxing, I call it.
I have to look into that. That's interesting.
Yeah, it's been really good. It's been fun, and definitely challenges you the way you were saying, Valarie. I mean, nothing like a sport to challenge you. And boxing is one of those that you will learn a lot about yourself.
When you get hit, you know, right? It's like, oh my gosh, I just got hit. Okay, the next is Valarie, fast 5 finger favorites. The third question is, what is your favorite song? Or something.
So I have on my Spotify, Honey and I have all of the oldies, and I love them. My favorite song that gets me ready to facilitate, ready in charge for the day is Happy by, I think his name is Pharrell, the way that you pronounce it. And it's because I'm happy. And I think that we have to put on that mindset. You constantly have to feed your mind. Remember, what you think about, you bring about. And that happy song, I would tell my children when they were growing up, I said, don't come to me and tell me that you're going to marry someone who makes you happy, because no one can make you happy. That's within. You have to bring happiness to the table in order to be happy, because what happens when they make you unhappy? And so I love that song because it helps me to just put that on. And then anything by Shaka Khan, any and everything by Shaka Khan. I love her, and I love her music, everything that she's ever done. And so those are my songs.
Oh my gosh, I'm so glad you brought that up, because our theme song for one of the TEDx events we did last year was Happy. So yeah, it's such an awesome song. Okay, the next one is Valarie. What's your favorite quote? This is 4.
So my favorite quote is a quote by Bishop T.D. Jakes. And it's not a preachy quote, but it's something that everybody, I can't remember where I heard it, maybe just one of his sermons, but listen at this, because it speaks to resilience. He says, someone can take the hand you were dealt and win. Sometimes we look at our hand, think about playing cards, it's like, oh, I have nothing. Well, you could pass that deck, that hand to someone else and they will win with it. And so he's speaking to it in life. Life happens, but somebody could take my life and all of the fragments that I think, oh, I'm a loser, which I'm not. Oh, this is happening, which is not. But somebody could take those fragments and create a winning hand, could win the whole game with it. And so I just love that. And I really rehearse that in my mind. Somebody can take what I'm being dealt and win. So what do I do to win? What strategies do I implement? How do I take the pieces of what I have here and make something great? I think the term is called Kaizen, where it's a broken dish, but when they repair it, it's a piece of gold in there, pure gold. So when you see the cup that was cracked, that they repaired, you see the gold, and it makes it more valuable than it was to begin with. They took that and they won with it. They created something more beautiful. And so I love that quote by Bishop T.D. Jakes.
I love it. +1. Next question on the fast 5-finger favorites is Valarie White, our PowerUp hero of teaching. We've already unpacked that your superpowers are empowerment. Your secondary superpower is resilience. Valarie White, if the PowerUp hero of teaching had to throw those covers off in the morning and wake up, how would they wake up in the morning?
So I am a morning person. When I get up, I'm like ready to go. I have a set of power affirmations that I say to myself. But before I even get out of bed, in my mind and in my heart, I'm thankful. I am grateful. I inhale and my exhale is the first breath. Whether I say it audibly or within myself, is thank you, God, that I have life. I have yet another opportunity. And I say that, thank you for giving me another opportunity. One of the things that I say constantly to myself is I'm going to live to be in my right mind, have my good health and my strength to serve God until he returns. And so I am thankful every day that I have an opportunity to make an impact, to teach someone, to learn a life lesson, to love again, to share. And so keeping that mindset helps me to embrace the day. I am awakened each day for purpose, for a reason. It's maybe to encourage someone, maybe something in this PowerUp is going to take another person to their next level. And so I'm a vessel that is yielded to God to use me in that regard. Sometimes when we say that or we hear that said, people think of only inside of a church. It's more than that. The mission is outside of the four walls of the church, not to diminish your people's faith, because I am a person who believes that, yeah, we do need that. But I'm saying as far as your personal mission, every day I am a walking epitome of what I believe in. And I'm so thankful that I'm gifted platforms. And so just being thankful, being grateful, and then 8 cups of coffee. That's what it is.
Straight to the point, right? Like, okay, after all of that, drink 8 cups of coffee. No, I'm kidding.
And I do.
Oh my goodness.
I love how much you're sharing with us, Valarie, because I know that we talk fairly often, we know each other, but there's so many other people that you're resonating with, like our Sarita is saying that she cannot wait to see the replay because she already loves the work that you do, Valarie. She just joined us, but she's already in love with you like the rest of us. And then she started to talk about the t-shirt pivot. Yes, she loves it and was there, and he was there. And then she was also saying that she wrote that quote down that you quoted with T.D. Jakes. I am a big T.D. Jakes fan, so I wrote that down too. Love you, T.D. Jakes, wherever you are.
I know.
And then
if we say his name many times, he'll watch it. No, I'm kidding.
Yes,
I know. One of my favorite books is, if I were doing a 5, one of my favorite books is by T.D. Jakes, and it's called Soar. If you haven't read it, go read it. And if you need a signed copy, maybe if we ask nicely, he'll send us
come on the show.
And then Sarita also said that I'm awakened each morning for a purpose, which is something that you said, Valarie, and that's super meaningful to the way we wake up in the morning and with the attitude. And that's going to carry us through the rest of the day. So if you do not have a morning routine, get one, because it affects the rest of your day till you come home, and it affects all the people around you, all the people that you interact with, all the people that you touch. You have the power to affect and change the room. Make sure you're preparing yourself in the morning to make that room amazing.
Yes, I love it. The way you wake up determines the start of your day, determines the rest of your day. So make sure you start strong. And we have one other person, Megan. We have an amazing guest, Robin, right? Robin says that this was amazing and she loved every minute and loved the golden nuggets. And Valarie, you were going to say something.
Yes, I was talking about when you said about how we wake up. If you look at some of the reposts of the announcement for today, I kept putting on there, wake up to power up, wake up to power up. I totally believe that the way you wake up, people say, oh, I woke up on the wrong side of the bed. There is no such thing, because before you get out of bed, the mindset that you have will guide, and it really kind of designs the way your day is going to go. So thank you to all of those who joined in. Robin I have a personal connection to mine, and I'm hoping that you'll give her the information for Power Up. You guys must hear her story. Phenomenal woman. The women who are on the front line as nurses amid this pandemic, the women and men, we must recognize the work that they're doing, and then to be able to engage in other projects that I know Robin is doing. So I'm hoping that she'll connect on Power Up when you share how to do that.
I love it. Robin, it's a pleasure to meet you.
Yes, we love you, Robin. Thank you for watching. Now, Valarie, you have talked a lot about the things you have overcome in your past, challenges, adversity, how we can overcome and be resilient. But let's take a step into your future. Imagine yourself 5 to 10 years from now. Tell us what you see.
And so, okay, yes, at my age, and I am not ashamed of it, I am 55. My birthday will be next month on March 21st, so soon to be 56. And there is more life to live and more to give. And so I'm completing a doctorate. I will graduate in 2022. So in 5 years, I will have that doctorate. I will be getting close to officially retiring, but I say I retire from something to something. And so I am in the process of expanding Focus, finding ways and making the right connections, because Focus is a global organization, because I've been afforded the opportunity to work on 2 continents. But I want to take this message to the everyday person who's struggling, who needs to hear it and may not be able to afford the platforms that they are typically offered on. I want to be able to reach that person, as well as the corporate CEO. I think too often, regardless to where you are in your life tends to overshadow, and people forget about these kinds of messages. And so through Focus, that's why the name is Focus Consulting Services. And the tagline with that is that we find options and create unique solutions so you can accomplish anything. Accomplishing anything. What do you set your mind to? What are your big goals? And so I see myself really on the road, traveling with my honey, delivering this same message all around the world, because he's also in the same doctorate program. We're doing it in tandem together. We're completing that. And it's been very rewarding to have a partner to take such a big step with you and go along the way. So that's what's going to happen in 5 years.
Wow. I want to bring in some of the things you talked about, which was your website. So I want to just chime on here that you can go and find out more about Focus Consulting. She does instructor-led training, instructional design, learning and development. For those of you who don't know, we are celebrating Valarie White. She's our Power Up Hero of Teaching. She's a global talent development expert, and she is the owner of an organization called Focus Consulting Services. So we just heard that Valarie also is on a global mission. So I heard you say this many times, and so I wrote it down, and I want to make sure I get this right. You're on a mission to globally share your knowledge and fulfill your mission of going to teach all the nations. And I've heard you say a phrase, which I think you said is from the Bible, go ye therefore teach. So I almost feel like this is going to be your legacy work.
It is. It's my life work. Like I said, everything from a race car driver to a cardiologist is where I was with, oh, what do I want to do? I cut my teeth in business and financial services and banking. That gave me some experiences. I also did sales. I've done a lot of things only to find out I truly am a people person. And those were the seeds that were sown into me from my grandmother and working in her corner store. It was the love for people. And then now the love for knowledge. A lot of people can't afford the workshops and the certification courses and that kind of thing. So we have to give back. So I look for opportunities where I can be the message and share that with people to help transform their lives. I do some volunteer work, and I have done some things through my church with even sharing this message with underserved populations, not just ethnically, but people who find themselves with a food or a housing insecurity. And then also in the boardroom, sometimes we think that the person who's a millionaire doesn't need to hear a positive message, doesn't need to be picked up. Oftentimes I've found that that's incorrect. They also need that positive, motivational speech or class or workshop, something to help them to realize that it's even bigger than them. If you have the means, you can help others. And if you don't have the means, there's nothing wrong with stating that and receive some help. But the goal is to get everyone to their next level. That's why we say focus, find options, find the option for where you are, then create unique solutions so you can accomplish anything. When you do that, you'll reach your next level, and then always give back. So it is my life work. It's the legacy that I will leave to my children and grandchildren. I really want to be known as a person who empowered others.
Yes. Oh, and my favorite quote is "Where focus goes, energy flows" from Tony Robbins. So, and now you've given me, I guess, some words of what focus means, which I absolutely love. Find options and create unique solutions. Boom! Yes. I feel so powered up right now. So, Megan, I think we just unpacked the most amazing Power Up hero. And so in closing, I just want to ask Valarie, is there anything we haven't asked you or anything you want to say before we end the show today?
You know, I just want to speak to people who really don't feel that that they're making a difference. Oftentimes I've been that person, you know, head down, nose to the grind, just doing the work. And sometimes you feel like, does anybody see it? Well, first and foremost, according to my faith, I know that God sees it. But then secondly, you have to remember that there's always someone watching, and do it for yourself. So I've been working from my living room since last March, almost a year now. But when I show up, I do this every day. You said something about the jewelry. I dress up, I make up. I have my stilettos on sometimes in the house, just like I would if I were going to the office. You've got to do it for yourself. You have to find the love for self and say, you know what, I'm worth it just because I am worth it. And then do what needs to be done. Show up strong for you first. It will get noticed. And when you do that, it will be a magnet, because when you're positive, when you are excited, your energy, it attracts other people. It's captivating, and those things will come to you. And so I just leave people with that. Don't give up. Stick with it. You're going to get to your next level.
Oh, Valarie, I love it. Sorry, go ahead, Megan.
Oh, no, nothing. I was just thanking her. I'm thinking about going to my next level. And sometimes it is a struggle, right? Especially when you start something new. When you talk about starting over again, and life is full of starting over again, and you never think about how you have to do that until you have to start over again. And it's so hard. And I just thank you for all the wisdom that you gave to us today, because I think it's going to help me personally go to that next level, regardless of the fact of having to start over again. I appreciate all the teachings today, Valarie.
Yes, I know. Megan, I'm echoing you right now, because starting over is not fun, right? So, so I know Megan and I both went through that. So, Valarie, I apologize. Did you have something to add?
I did. I wrote 3 things down, and okay. I really want to say them because they speak to things that people really know about, but they forget. Diamonds are formed under pressure. So the pressure, the uncomfort, you're making a diamond. You're becoming a diamond. Pearls are formed by discomfort. Think about the oyster. A speck of sand gets into the shell, and because the oyster is uncomfortable, it forms something around the grain of sand that makes the pearl. And look how valuable and priceless pearls are. And then when we think about it, the scars, people want to hide their scars. Scars mean you lived through something to be able to help someone else. And so I used to be so, the pressure would get to me, or the uncomfort of the situation, or hide the scars. No, it's who you are. You're going to be a diamond. You're going to be a pearl. You have lived through something to help someone else. And never forget what I said about the gold. You're pure gold, but you have to be heated up to get the impurities out.
Ooh, you have to be fired up. You have to be powered up. Well, what it sounds like is that you while you're going through it, you get hot, and that's a good thing, right? I love it. I love it. Well, Valarie, how can people get in touch with you?
So again, they can go to my website and email me at Valarie@focus2accomplish.com. I also have a Facebook page that they can find me there too, Valarie Denise White, on Facebook. So reach out to me. I'd love to work with you, to engage with you. I'm on LinkedIn as well. If you're following this link, you will have my LinkedIn page as well. And so let's just connect. It's not just about, it's about giving back. It's about forming those connections and networking with people to get to their next level.
I love it. Valarie, it has been truly a pleasure to host you today. I think we went through like a bunch of sessions today. I feel like you gave us so much, like you taught a workshop.
What I do.
And your workshop of your life. I think you really impacted your life's journey. And I think that's a true testament, right? Live your story, and your story will be the message of how to live a good life. So you're truly doing that. And so congratulations on being our PowerUp hero of teaching. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right. Oh my goodness. Megan!
Lisa.
Our friend Valarie. Oh my gosh. I just can't believe it. She literally taught a workshop. I don't know if she does it. Well, she probably does. Because that's what she does. Like every time she was giving an answer, I was like, that's a workshop session. And then she's going to put us into breakout rooms. And then we discuss, right?
Yep.
No, it's awesome.
We're so lucky, Lisa. We have a lot of great people in our lives. We're really lucky.
We do. And you know what? I think to myself, how long ago did we meet Valarie? And she was just pouring into us, and who knew we would need her for what we're doing now? You know what I mean? Like we weren't doing all this before when we met Valarie, but like you think about things and you don't know who's coming in your path, and when you need them, they show up, right? So we knew Valarie, we honed the relationship with her, and now we're here to celebrate her. But I mean, the things she was talking about, I don't know if she knows how relevant they are to the things I'm going through right now. Everything. I have like 4 pages, Megan. How many pages do you have?
Yeah, I have about 3. And
I have 1, 2, 3, 4 pages of notes. In fact, one of the ideas she gave me, and I'll visit with her on, was we probably need a book about powering up generational wealth. So like I was thinking through every time she would talk about the wisdom of her grandma, wisdom of her mom, I was thinking maybe we need to do a call out to our PowerUp heroes, our PowerUp community, and ask them to share stories with us of lessons that have been passed down to them. And we can create a book of how to power up generational wealth, because that's true wealth, that wisdom, And so she gave that idea. And I mean, I can go on and on about other ideas that I got just from hearing this show. But I mean, there was so much awesomeness. So I'm empowered. Oh, I'm empowered by our PowerUp hero of teaching. So this is awesome. Let's see. I think we have some comments in here. Yes, Zoraida says, yes, thank you. She's amazing. I love her. And I can't wait. Like this COVID thing is making it where you can't meet people in person. So it's like, So, and I have to give a shout out to Zoraida also, because you remember when we launched those books?
Yes.
Well, they're officially on Amazon, and I got my copies already.
Did you get them signed yet?
I got mine already. I think Zoraida's gonna get. We ordered like 200, Megan.
Wow.
I know, and like a whole bunch of people are ordering more. So
that's good.
Yes. So Evelyn James is officially on Amazon right now. So if you go on Amazon and you just type in Captain Paws. There's 2 books, and then there's Captain Paws book 2. You'll be able to find out more. And then she has a Telemundo interview coming up. So we're just so excited to find out more. Just go. Actually, you know what? I have the link right here. I still have a banner set up from what we did it last time. If you want to get the book itself, you can actually go to this link, but you can go also to Amazon and buy it there as well. So we're just super excited that Suraida was able to be on the show today. It gave an opportunity to highlight Evelyn. So
Telemundo, wow, you go, girl.
I know. And Suraida says, thank you. And you're welcome. And Robin says, I truly enjoyed it, ladies. Yes, we're so excited you were here, Robin. And we look forward to getting to know you. Sounds like you are a power-up hero. And so we look forward to unpacking your life and your journey as a hero in our community. And you, Megan, my personal hero. Thank you for being on the show today, Megan. And as always, I hope to see you next time. You never know who's coming on the show. So every time you come, it's always a surprise. You don't know who's next week. It's going to be awesome. But I look forward to unpacking our power-up hero with you.
I do too. And I am still in awe with Valarie, and I'm so excited for the journey that she's on right now and her 5 to 10 years from now. I hope that everyone this weekend feels everything that we're feeling right now. Virtually, we're sending it through the virtual wires and the fibers to your house. And go ye therefore and teach all the nations, just like Valarie.
I know. Oh, I love it. Thank you so much, Megan. We'll see you next week. Bye. I am so glad that you were able to join us today. Thank you for listening to the show. Thank you for watching the show. If you want to find out more about the Power Up Hero that we just interviewed, you can go to our website, which is poweruphero.org. Once again, the website is www.poweruphero.org. I'm pretty sure some of y'all are watching on YouTube or Facebook, or unfortunately our LinkedIn feed for some reason didn't connect. So nobody's probably watching on LinkedIn, but we'll connect it to LinkedIn soon. But you can also watch you can also listen on Spotify, on iHeartRadio. You can even ask your Alexa to play the Power Up Hero podcast. But be sure to subscribe so that way you never miss an episode of Power Up Hero. I'm Lisa Wisner, and I hope that you were educated. I hope you were inspired, and I hope that you were motivated to be a Power Up Hero in your life, not only for yourself, but also for our community, for your teams that you work with at work, for your family and friends. But most importantly, our world needs heroes today. And so you would be doing a great service to the world if you live, just like Valarie said, if you live your authentic life and use your superpowers to empower the world to be the best versions of themselves. I hope you enjoy the rest of your Saturday. And like Megan said, hopefully you have this energy in you to make the day amazing. Make it a powered up day. Bye.